Now, closed system is also known as control mass system. Why a control mass system? The simple reason, because mass is not crossing the system. Now the example I have given you of the closed cylinder device is represented here again. You can see this one. Uh, in this diagram it is represented that this is the same device as discussed earlier. This is a closed system, and it is represented here that mass cannot transfer, but energy can transfer in both the ways, that is out from the system or in from the system, whereas mass in no way can transfer from the system, that is nor from outside nor from inside. So it is written here the same thing. Consider again the example of piston cylinder device. Since no mass is crossing the boundary, it is called a closed system. The energy may cross the boundary. The same statement as I have given you earlier. And why a control mass? Because mass does not cross the system, mass remains constant, hence a control mass system. Now, discussing about the open system. What is an open system? An open system is, just look at the definition, or a control volume. So a new name given to open system, control volume. For closed system it was closed control mass, and for open system it is control volume. Sorry for that. So what is an open system? An open system or control volume is a properly selected region in a space. So what does this mean? As you must be now knowing that in an open system the mass and energy both crosses. So we have to select a region in that. So for example, filling up of a water tank by a tap through a rubber pipe. So that rubber pipe is a open system if I choose that one. Why? Because the mass, that is the water, enters the system, that is the pipe, and moves out of the system, that is the where the tank is being filled. Now the mass is crossing from inlet to outlet. And energy. Now you may question, sir, how energy? Because you may know that mass also contains some energy as given by the Einstein's equation, E equals to mc square. Now flow through these devices. First I will read out the statement and then I will try to explain you. That will be better in the case of control volume. Flow through these devices, that is open system device, is best studied by selecting the region within the device as control volume. So what does this mean? Taking again the example of the same pipe filling up the water tank through a tap, or so it is better to study the whole system by selecting a region in that device. What does this mean? This means that rather studying the whole pipe, I would select a region in that whole device and study from that only. So it will be best suited to study from that point of view rather than studying the whole pipe. And this you may also found very easy, that rather taking the flow of the whole through the whole pipe, that is from the beginning, that is from the tap of water to the end condition, that is the where the bucket is being filled or the tank is filled. It is easy to select any uh, point in the pipe or any region, any cross section of the pipe, and study. Why? Because the mass flow rate of water will be same throughout, right from the tap to the uh, point where the tank is filled. Now it is a wisely decision to select the that region. Although in the present example, that is filling of that tank, you can select any of the point throughout the pipe. That may give the result, same result every time. But in some complex systems, it is control volume is selected wisely so that to reduce the number of calculation. Though this is not a part of your study, just sharing some higher points with you. Now consider the example of water heater as shown in figure. So what will happen? Now we would like to determine how much heat we must transfer to the water in the tank in order to supply to a steady stream of hot water. That means to get a steady stream of hot water at outlet, how much heat shall be supplied? As you must be knowing that the your installed water geyser, you are getting a constant supply of hot water uh, with almost no change in temperature or a few fluctuations of 1 or 2 degree up and down. So to analyze these types of system, it is better to by using the control volume. How? Let's see. Now what is happening? Since hot water will replace the tank, enter the tank and will be replaced by cold water. As you can see that hot water is going out, cold water is coming in. So that means hot water is replaced by cold water. So in this condition, it is convenient to choose a fixed fixed region in our system for our analysis. So here it is done. Now you can see, first of all, moving further, just look up the example drawing which is made here. As you can see, this is a geyser, cold water is coming in, hot water is going out, and by which mode? And heater must be installed. It is not shown here, but I have drawn a symbolic representation. So this means that mass is crossing the system, energy is also crossing the system, because I am giving you the heat input, and heat is also going out in various forms. Various forms are, it is becoming hot, the heater is becoming hot, and hot water is also going out. So heat energy is also crossing in the form of heat. So it is a open system. Now you can see the 2 points. First is the control volume. A line is drawn. This is known as control volume, and a word is also written here, that is control surface. So what does the control surface means? Let's wait till the next page. Now, as said earlier, that rather than focusing on the whole system, we concentrate our attention on the interior surface of the tank, that is the dotted line as shown earlier, and consider the hot and cold water stream as mass leaving and entering the control volume. Since an open system, therefore a control volume. Now, as I said earlier, what is a control surface? So the interior surface of the tank form the control surface. Okay. So as the control volume surface, the surface of the control volume is known as control surface. So for this case, mass is crossing the control surface at two locations. Uh, just going back. So what are these two locations? This point and this point. So here from control surface is being crossed at 2 points which are shown here. Now the next statement, the boundaries of a control volume are called control surface, and the important point, and they may be real or imaginary. Okay, example, nozzle or a plastic pipe. So why? Just imagine, just now take the example of the pipe which I am discussing till now with you. The pipe, now the what will be the control surface for the pipe? The surface of the pipe plus the two ends of the pipe. Now the two ends of the pipe are not closed, so we have to imagine that a control surface is existing there, because the mass is crossing from these two imaginary control surface. You can visualize this thing by this particular diagram also, that mass, sorry for that, mass comes here and mass goes out from here. So it is a control surface. Now you can see the dotted lines. Now you can see that the dotted lines, here it is a control surface, here this is a physical, you can touch, but here no such is physical is present. You have to imagine that, okay, it is a control surface. So from these 2 points the mass crosses and it is an imaginary. So that's why the word that the control surface may be imaginary or real. In the present case it is imaginary. Now the next statement, a control volume can be fixed in shape and size, or it may involve a moving boundary. So what does this mean? This means that a control volume can be movable also. How? Just take the example of a piston cylinder device as shown here. The diagram, the caption of the diagram is a control volume with a fixed and moving boundary. If the piston is stationary, then it is of fixed boundary. Why? Because the base of the system is fixed, the walls of the system is fixed, and since piston is also not moving, therefore it constitutes a fixed boundary. Now if I say that piston is moving, then what does this mean? That these three boundaries are fixed, but the fourth boundary is moving. That's why the statement that a boundary may be fixed or moving. So students, hopefully you had understood this point. Coming to the next slide, next page. Now the properties of a system. What are properties of a system? Every system has certain characteristics by which its physical condition may be described. So what does this mean? That every system, for example an iron block, can be specified by its characteristics, example its volume, its temperature, and since it is if so by its shape, by its structure, it can be specified by that. So these are its properties. In a similar fashion, a fluid in general may be specified by its volume, temperature and pressure. So these are called its characteristics. So such characteristics are called properties of the system. And the important point, all these properties are macroscopic in nature. So what does macroscopic in nature means? That we can visualize or sense it by our senses or by simple instruments. Like pressure we can sense by instruments, temperature we can sense, and volume we can also visualize, okay, this is less and this is more. Now coming to the next point, again the properties are of two types, the intensive properties and the extensive properties. So what are the intensive properties? Properties which are independent of mass, in the system. Example, pressure and temperature. So what does this mean? Those properties which are not dependent on mass. Example is pressure. Pressure is not dependent on mass. You can just realize that a person, whether thin or fat, exerts is being exerted by the same atmospheric pressure. Otherwise it would create a problem to fat persons. Anyhow, and temperature also is not affected by the mass of for example, 1 liter water will also boil at 100 degrees centigrade, and 1000 liter of water will also boil at 100 degrees centigrade. So temperature and pressure are not concerned about mass. So these are intensive properties. Now what are extensive properties? Properties which are related to mass are called extensive properties, means which are dependent on mass. Examples are volume and energy. So you know that volume is a mass dependent. The larger you take the mass, its volume will increase. Like water, if you take on adding mass of water, its volume will go on increasing. And how energy is related, because you know that energy contains E is equal to mc square. By various equations you may come to know that energy is dependent on mass. So first of all, Einstein's equation, E equals to mc square. Secondly, kinetic energy half mv square, potential energy mgh. So by various equations you may come to know that energy is dependent on mass. The larger the mass, the larger it contains the energy. Moreover, if mass is increased, the value of extensive property will increase. This you can understand, because extensive property is dependent on mass, and if we increase the mass, the value of extensive property will increase. Just now I have explained the example of energy, that if you goes on adding mass, then its energy will increase. Now an important definition comes here. Thus it is specific extensive property. So what does the word specific extensive property means? Is an extensive property per unit mass or intensive property. So this is an important definition, and I think it might confuse you, that first I am writing that specific extensive property, and then I am writing within braces or intensive property. Why? Just look at that. How? For example, look at, if I talk about energy. So what is energy? It is an extensive property. And if I say specific extensive, then it means what? It is per unit mass. That means energy shall be sorry, not shall, energy divided by mass. So what will be its units? Per unit mass. That means energy has units joule, so joule per kilogram. So that means now it is independent of mass. And if it is independent of mass, then what is its, then what it means? It is an intensive property. So that's why here it is written specific extensive property is extensive property per unit mass. So any extensive property, if divided by mass, will give intensive property. For example, specific volume, specific energy, density. Okay, now I think it should be clear to you. Now moving to the next page. The next page is state and equilibrium. So what is a state? First of all, I will discuss about state, then we'll move to the equilibrium. So state is just reading out first the phrase: if a system is not undergoing any change, then all points of the properties can be measured or calculated throughout the entire system, which gives us a properties that completely describes the condition of the system or state. So not clear from this statement, this will clear from here. Thus, state can be defined as when all the properties of a system have a definite value, then system is said to exist in a definite state. Now, what does it mean? Just take up the example and I will then correlate it with the definition written here. The example is again a mass piston cylinder device. As I said you earlier that this is a very common device which I will be taking frequently. So, and you will be habitual about these things. So this piston cylinder device contains mass of 2 kilogram, which is at a temperature of 20 degree centigrade, and its volume is suppose 1.5 meter. Since its all properties are fixed, I now again read the statement. Since all the properties can be measured throughout the entire system, so these properties can be measured throughout the entire system, therefore it defines a state. This is one state. And the second line is if any one of the property changes, then the state will be different. So here mass is same, temperature is also same, but the volume changes. So this means that this state is changed and this is state 2. Why? Because one of the property has changed. Now look at the definition again. Sorry for that. Now I think I can make clear to you what a state means. If a system is not undergoing any change, suppose this, then all points all the properties can be measured. So if the system is not changing, means it is fixed, its mass, temperature and volume are fixed, then its properties can be measured. So if it is not changing, then you can measure its mass, temperature, volume. Why? And even the pressure also you can measure. Why? Because it is not changing, piston is not moving, so therefore volume will not change, pressure will not change throughout the entire system, which gives us a properties that completely describes the condition. Also these properties completely describes the condition of the system, and hence it is called state. And the last paragraph it is written that if the value of even one property changes, then system will change to different. So here uh, one property changes, even one, it is written even one. So if various properties are present, suppose mass, temperature, volume, pressure, and one of the terms in energy is enthalpy, then if any one of the property changes, then system will move to a different state. Hopefully you have understood this thing. Now moving towards the next part. Now in general thermodynamics, what we study deals with equilibrium states. So what does the equilibrium means? Equilibrium means a state of balance. So what does this mean, state of balance? Just we will understand this thing. uh, so this means that there will be no unbalanced potentials. uh, Sorry, this it is written. In an equilibrium state, that means in a state of balance, there are no unbalanced potential or driving force in the system. Little bit typical line. Now this line will be made clear here in the next paragraph. Before proceeding, let's another paragraph. There are many types of equilibrium, and a system is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium unless the condition of all relevant types of equilibrium are satisfied. So there are various types of equilibrium which I am going to discuss with you. and if all the equilibriums are satisfied, that means if all the equilibrium are in a all the forces are in a state of balance, all the things are in a state of balance, then it is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium. For example, now consider a system. The system is shown here. Just take the example, a container in which the temperature variation is shown here. What it is written here? 20, 23, 30, 35, 40, 42. So a variation of temperature is present within the system. Now correlate it. This means there are balanced, unbalanced potential. Now I think the word must be clear to you. Unbalanced potential means there is unbalance between the temperature. So what will happen if there is an unbalance? Then due to this temperature difference, the heat transfer will start flowing from higher temperature to lower temperature, and it will continue. Okay, this you can realize also that if there is a temperature difference between two bodies, then heat will start flowing till till it this will thing will happen till it attains a temperature which is same throughout. Now you can see in this second diagram that temperature throughout is common, therefore no flow of energy will take place. So that means it is a this system does not contains unbalanced potential or the driving force. So here what was the in first diagram, what was the driving force? The temperature difference was the driving force which forces the heat to flow, and since here no driving force is present, hence the system is in thermal equilibrium. So the word driving force means which drives the energy, which compels the energy to move. Here it is the thermal energy. Now as said earlier, there are many types of equilibrium. So one of the few of these types are, first one is mechanical equilibrium. Mechanical equilibrium means it is related to pressure. Okay, and if a system is in mechanical equilibrium, then it means there is no change in pressure at any point of the system. Okay, so if I said that it is a mechanical equilibrium, then it means that there is no change in pressure at any point of the system. Okay, and then the comes the second definition. It is on the next page, sorry. Just Now the second is thermal equilibrium. What is thermal equilibrium? Thermal equilibrium is when temperature is same throughout the system, then it is under thermal equilibrium. And the third term is a chemical equilibrium, under which the rate of reaction is constant. So when these three equilibriums are satisfied, then it is said that the system is under thermodynamic equilibrium. Now hopefully understood what I have been to say. Moving towards the next part, this is process and cycles. Now what does this mean? Process and cycles. Any change that a system undergoes from one equilibrium state to another is called a process. So now you have understood that the whole thermodynamics depends upon the what you are going to being teach is equilibrium states. So the any change that a system undergoes from one equilibrium state, so this is one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state, is called a process. Okay, so this is a process, and this is a property A, property B. Property A or property B means it can be any property, that is pressure volume, pressure energy, or temperature volume. In this way, I have written here independent of any two such properties, a general thing I have written. Now the second line says that the series of state through which a system passes during a process is called the path of process. That means how the system that at state 1 goes to state 2 is called the process path. Next, to describe a process, one should specify the initial state, final state, and the process as well as the path follows. So what does this mean? This means that if I want to describe the process, which process is this? So we should know the initial state, final state, and the path of the process. And moreover, the system it interacts with the surroundings. So then only we can describe the process. Now the last definition in this reference is cycles. So what are cycles? A system is said to have undergone a cycle if it returns to its initial state at the end of the process. That is, for a cycle, the initial and final states are identical. So what does this mean? If I start from state 1, goes to state 2 and then return to state 1 again, then what does this mean? That I have returned to my initial state again. So this means this is a cycle, or the initial state and the final state in a cyclic process are same, as you can see from the diagram. In general, various engineering devices follow a cyclic process, like your refrigerator, like the power cycles. All these are under cyclic process.